8th graders, this is lesson 5.6 over using the Pythagorean theorem. If you remember from lesson 5.5, the Pythagorean theorem allowed us to calculate a side that would be missing from a right triangle. And it said that one leg squared plus the second leg squared was equal to the hypotenuse squared. Some things to remember about that is this only works for right triangles, which means that it's a triangle with a 90-degree angle. Can't be close, it has to be exactly 90. And the hypotenuse is always the longest side and opposite the right angle. On the state test, they may choose to designate the hypotenuse as some letter other than C to try to confuse you. So don't always consider C the hypotenuse, but normally, and I do want to emphasize normally, meaning most of the time, C is the hypotenuse. But you need to label your triangle and be sure that's the case. Okay, let's look at some examples. Number 1 in your composition book looks like this. And it tells you that this is 6 inches and this is 6 inches. And then it has a dotted line. This dotted line is called a diagonal. And it also has the little squares right here, indicating that this is a right triangle. Well, if this side is 6, this side must also be 6. So now we're ready to use Pythagorean theorem, which says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I can make either one of the legs a or b, but in this case they're the same, so 6 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. Why did we leave c blank? Because c is opposite the right angle and it's the longest side. 6 squared is 36 plus 36 equals c squared. So 72 equals c squared. To undo a square, you have to do the square root. So c equals 8.5 inches because the instructions were to round to the nearest tenth. Number 2 shows a young man that's flying a kite, and it tells you this is C, this is 30, this is 25. So they have stuck to the pattern of C is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I can let 25 or 30 be a, it doesn't matter. But we're going to use 25 for a and 30 for b. 25 squared is 625. 30 squared is 900. When you add 625 plus 900, you get 1525 equals c squared. To undo a square, you have to do the square root. So the square root of 1525 is 39.1 meters because we were to round to the nearest tenth. Problem number 3, with the way they have drawn the picture, they're telling you that this is leg B. Normally, it doesn't matter which one's A or B, but in this case, they designated which one was B. So we have to follow their designation. So the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we have 10 squared plus b squared equals 15 squared. So that's 100 plus b squared equals 225. Subtract 100 from both sides, and b squared equals 125. To undo the square, we have to do the square root of both sides. So b equals 11.2 feet when rounded to the nearest tenth. Number 4, has a triangle drawn beside a tree, and it says this is 7, this is 18, and it tells you this is 8 because it wants to know the height of the tree. This is a right triangle, so we're still using Pythagorean theorem. I can designate these as A or B, but 7 I'm going to use for A, and H is what I'm going to use for B. And then 18 is the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle and it's the longest side. 7 squared is 49 plus H squared equals 324. Subtract 49 from both sides. H squared equals 275. Because we don't want h squared, we want h. We need to take the square root of both sides. So h equals 16.6 yards to the nearest tenth. You should be ready to complete homework 5.6 at this time.